has done such and such things for me. He has hired me for wage. I am his priest." They said to him, "You must ask God as to whether or not our journey shall come out well." The priest said to them, "Go in peace. The journey which you have undertaken is acceptable to God." Therefore all those 5 men set off and went over to Laish. The people there in the manner of Sidonites lives in peace and in serenity, being fearless. There isn't anyone in the land who is strong enough to harm them in any matter. They live far from Sidonites and live estranged from other people they found. Then they came to their brothers in Sora and Ascalon. Brothers asked them, "Where do you come from?" To that they replied, "From Laish." "Arise, we may charge against them. We have seen that land is extremely good. Why do you sit idle and hesitant? Do not hesitate to go and inherit the land. When you reach, you shall see people who are mighty. The land is wide, for God has given it to your hands. It shall not cause you scarcity of anything on earth." Eventually, those who belonged to the tribe of Dan and Sora and Ascalon had set off armed for battle. They went and encamped in Kiriath-Yearim in Yehudah. Hence the place is known hitherto as Masheres Dan. It is situated behind Kiriath-Yearim. From there they traveled towards the hillland of Ephraim and reached near the house of Micah. Then the 5 men who had gone to spy over the land of Laish said to their brethren, "Have you known that there in these hills is an ephod, a household statue, a carved out in a molten image? Therefore be determined of what you have to do." They turned by to the house of the Levite youth who lived close to the house of Micah and entered into small talks with him. All the 600 armed Danites stood by the door. All the 5 who went to spy over the land ventured inside, and as they had been taking away the carved image, ephod, household statue, and molten image, the priest asked them, "What are you up to?" They said to him, "Do not speak. Shut your mouth and come with us, so as to become father and priest to us, which is more desirable, whether to be priest for the house of a single man or to be the priest of an entire tribe and clan." Then the mind of the priest had brightened up. He took the ephod, household statue, and the molten image and walked amid the army. In this way they set off, ushering before them small kids, herds and cattle, and possessions for expedition. When they have reached a distance far away from the house of Micah, the people in the houses close to that of Micah assembled and pursued the Danites. When they cried out to Danites, so as to ridicule them, they turned around and looked. They asked Micah, "Why do you come in the company of crowd? You have robbed away the images of gods that I have made along with my priest. What is left for me hence?" "So then how can you ask me, how does it matter you?" he said. Danites said to him, "Let not your voice be heard here, lest the furious men may come against you, so that both your life and that of your household may be lost owing to you." Thus Danites went their way. Micah returned back home, finding that they are mightier than him. They had taken away the handcrafts of Micah, and the priest with him, reached the people in Laish who lived in peace and fearlessness, and cut them off by the edge of the sword, burnt down the city by fire. That was far from Sidon. Since they lived estranged from other people, there was none to deliver them. It was in the valley of Beth-rehob. They constructed the city again and came to occupy it, naming it Dan after their father who had been born for Israel, who was known as Dan. Earlier that city was known as Laish. Danites consecrated that idol that was carved until the time of exile of that land. Jonathan, the son of Geshem, the son of Manasseh, and his sons served as priests for the tribe of Dan. All the days when the temple of God had been in Shiloh, they set in it the images made by Micah and kept worshiping on. Chapter 19. During the days when there had been no king in Israel, there was a Levite who came to occupy the hillland of Ephraim in its valley. He married a concubine from Bethlehem of Yehudah. His concubine left him to commit adultery with another. Then she departed from him and went over to her father's house, where she remained for 4 months. His husband, seeking to bring her back with words of reconciliation, went over to her. Along with him had been one of his servants and 2 asses. She received him in her father's house. The damsel's father, upon seeing him, rejoiced in his arrival. His father-in-law, the father of the damsel, received him. Thus he stayed with him 3 days. They ate, drank, and spent the night. On the 4th day, when he rose up early morning for the journey, the father of the damsel said to his son-in-law, You may leave after having some food." Thus they sat together, and both of them ate and drank. The damsel's father said to him, "Kindly spend the night here and indulge yourselves." When he arose to leave, his father-in-law urged him. That night, too, he spent there. On the 5th day, when he arose early morning to leave, the father of the damsel said to him, "Have some food and stay till heat subside." Both of them had food. Then when he, his concubine, and servant arose, the father of the damsel, who was his father-in-law, said to him, "Behold, it is time for sunset. Stay this night as well. It's too late. Spend the night and indulge. Tomorrow at daybreak you may wake up and return back home." However, not willing to stay that night, also he arose and set off, reached near Jerusalem, known as Jebus. 2 saddled asses and his concubine were with him. When he reached near Jebus, it has been too late. Servant asked his master, "Shall we not enter this Jebusite city to spend over the night?" His master said to him, "We shall not step into this foreign land where there are no people of Israel. We may go over to Gibeah." He again told his servant, "We may spend the night in any one of these places, either Gibeah or Ramah." Thus they advanced forward, and when they reached the Benjamite land of Gibeah, sun has set. They entered Gibeah for the night. He went and sat in the street. They found none who would receive them in their home for the night. Eventually, behold, an old man is coming from the fields after work at twilight. He belonged to the hill land of Ephraim, one who came and resided in Gibeah. As for the inhabitants, they were Benjamites. When the old man looked up, he saw traveling folk in the street. "Where do you hail from? Where are you going to?" he asked. To this he replied, "We come from Bethlehem of Yehudah and are headed towards the outskirts of Ephraim Hillland. I belong to that place. I had been to Bethlehem of Yehudah, now going to the temple. There is found none here who would receive me into home. Our asses have straw and feed. As for me, your handmaiden, and my servant, we have bread and wine with us. There is nothing which is lacking." To this the old man said, "Peace be to you. All that you need I shall provide. However, not to spend night in the street." He was taken into his home and provided feed for the asses. They too cleansed their feet and ate food and drink. Thus, whilst they sat indulging, some of the brutal men of the city sabotaged the house and knocked at the door. "Bring out the man who has come to your house. Let us harass him," they said to the old man who had been the owner of the house. The man, the house owner, went outside and said to them, "No, my dear brothers, do not commit evil in this way. Since this man has come into my house, do not act with wickedness. Behold, my daughter who is a virgin and this man's concubine is here. I shall bring them outside. You shall take them and do to them as you wish. Do not commit such a vicious act with this man," he said. But they did not heed to his words. Therefore that man has taken his concubine and left her outside the house near them. They hugged her. All the night until morning they molested her. While it was about time for sunrise, they departed from her. At daybreak that woman came over to the house of that man, where her master had been, and fell down at the door of the house. When her master arose at morning and opened the door of the house to go along his way, behold, his concubine is lying fallen there with her hand on the threshold. He told her, "Arise, we may go." To that there had been no reply. He set off, carrying her on the back of the ass to his place. Upon reaching home, taking a knife, he cut and divided his concubine parts by parts into 12 pieces and sent it across all parts of Israel. All those who have seen that said, "From the day the people of Israel has set off from Mesrin until today, such an act has not been committed, neither witnessed. Think and ponder about this and answer," he said. Chapter 20. Eventually all the people of Israel set off from Dan to Beersheba, and all the group from the land of Gilead gathered at Mizpah in the presence of God with one mind, and all the leaders of all the tribes comprising the entire people of Israel, and 400,000 infantrymen came and stood among the crowd of the people of God. Benjamites heard that the people of Israel had gone to Mizpah. Then, as the people of Israel asked, "Tell us how this evil has occurred," the Levite, who was the husband of the woman who was murdered, answered, "I and my concubine went over to spend the night in Gibeah of the Benjamite land. Then the inhabitants of Gibeah arose against me at night and sabotaged the house owing to me and intended to kill me. They molested my concubine, as a result of which she died. as they have committed evil and wickedness in Israel. I cut my concubine into pieces and sent it across all the lands of inheritance of Israel. As you are all Israelites, say your discernment and opinion in this regard." Then the entire people arose in union and had said, "None of us shall return to our tabernacles, neither shall anyone turn back home. What we should do to Gibeah now, regarding that we shall cast lots, in order to wreak vengeance against all the wickedness which they have committed in Israel, when the people intrude into Gibeah, in order to go and bring food for them, there must be chosen 10 for 100, 100 for 1,000, and 1,000 for 10,000 from the tribes of Israel." Thus Israelites had united with one mind against that city. Then the tribes of Israel sent men all over Benjamite tribe. Why had such a sin occurred in your midst? They had been so insisted to say, "Deliver to us those brutals in Gibeah, so that we may kill them and remove the evil from Israel." As for the Benjamites, not willing to hear and obey the words of their brothers of the people of Israel, assembled in Gibeah from their cities so as to wage war against them. On that day, apart from the selected 700 skilled men from the inhabitants of Gibeah, the Benjamites who came from the cities had been found to be 26,000 armed men. Among all these men, there had been 700 left-handed skilled men. All of them had been trained for such precision so as not to miss even a hair in the aim of catapult. The armed men of Israelites, not counting Benjamites, had been 4 lakh, all of them being men of war. Eventually the people of Israel set off to reach Bethel. They asked God as to who among them should lead in the front in order to fight against Benjamites. God declared, "Let Yehudah lead the way." Thus the people of Israel woke up at daybreak and encamped against Gibeah. Israelites set off to fight against Benjamites and stood in the battle line against them in Gibeah. As for the Benjamites, they set off from Gibeah and fell by killing 22,000 people. All of them had been valiant men. Then all the people of Israel, all the people, ascended unto Bethel. Until twilight the people of Israel wept and dwelt there in God's presence with fasting, offered burnt offerings and peace offerings in God's presence. Then the people of Israel asked the Lord, "Shall we again go for war against the Benjamites who are our brothers?" The Lord declared, "Charge against them." Thus the army of Israel was emboldened, and they stood again in the battle line in the same place as the first day. The people of Israel advanced towards the Benjamites the second day also. Benjamites on the second day also set off against them from Gibeah, killing off and falling 18,000 among the people of Israel. All of them had been valiant men. Then all the people of Israel, being the entire population, walked into Bethel. On that day, they stayed till twilight fasting in the presence of God. They sacrificed in the Lord's presence burnt offering and peace offering. Then the people of Israel asked the Lord. In those days the ark of God had been there. Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of the high priest Aaron had ministered at the presence of God in those days. Should we resume fighting against our brothers, the Benjamites, or withdraw? To this which they asked, "Go, for tomorrow I shall deliver them into your hands, so declare the Lord," he said. Thus Israel stationed sneak attackers around Gibeah. The people of Israel advanced against the Benjamites the third day also and stood in the battle line against Gibeah, as before. Benjamites set off against the army and went off outside of the city, on the 2 estranged paths that lead to Gibeah and by the field to Bethel. They started cutting off a few from the army as before. About 30 men of Israel has been killed. Benjamites said, "They are running off before us defeated as earlier." The Israelites, on the other hand, have planned, "We will lure them into the wild ways from the city by running away." Israelites set off from their place and stood in the battle line at Balthamar. The sneak attackers of Israelites also set off from the place they sat on the meadows in Gibeah. From all Israel 10,000 people who had been chosen went against Gibeah. The war reached its zenith. However, they have not known that disaster is at hand. God crushed Benjamites in the sight of Israelites. On that day the people of Israel put to death as many as 25,100 men of Benjamites. All of them had been armed men. In this way the Benjamites realized that they had been defeated. However, since Israel trusted in the sneak attackers appointed near Gibeah, they gave place for the Benjamites. Suddenly sneak attackers streaked into Gibeah. The sneak attackers walked wide and long and cut off the entire city by the edge of the sword. Israelites had made an agreement with the sneak attackers that a great smoke be elicited high from the city. When Israelites had withdrawn, Binyamites had begun to cut off the Israelites. About 30 people had been killed. As it had been earlier, they flee before us defeated. They said so. Binyamites looked back when sign from the city had started rising as a big pillar of smoke. They saw the entire city rising high up to the sky, caught by flames of fire. When Israelites had turned back, Binyamites saw that disaster had struck them. They turned by the way of wilderness from before the people of Israel. Army pursued them. They had cut off those from the city, each one in the midst of their own cities. They sabotaged the Binyamites, put them to flight, and caught them opposite Gibeah in the east at the place of their recreation. Thus 18,000 of Binyamites had fallen dead. All of them had been valiant men. Then they turned back and ran through the wilderness till the rock of Rimmon. Among them 5,000 had been caught hold along the abandoned paths one by one and put to death. Others had been followed till Gibeah, and of them 2,000 had been cut off. Thus of the Binyamites 25,000 armed men had died on that day. All of them had been valiant men. However, 600 men turned and ran till the rock of Rimmon, and inhabited there for 4 months. Israelites again turned against Binyamites, and slayed each of the entire city, animals, and all that has come to their sight by the edge of the sword. All the cities that came to their sight has been burnt off by fire. Chapter 21. Israelites swore in Mizpah, "None of us should give our daughter to a Binyamite in marriage." Therefore all the people went over to Bethel and sat in the presence of God until twilight for a great mourning in a loud voice. The Lord God of Israel, it has so happened that today in Israel one among all the tribes has ceased to exist. The next day people rose up early in the morning and built an altar there to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings. Then the people of Israel, among all the tribes of Israel, is there anyone who has not been present in the congregation so as to draw near to God? They had sworn a terrible oath in Mizpah that anyone who failed to come to God must suffer death. However, the people of Israel had been remorseful concerning the Binyamites, their brothers. Today one of the tribes from Israel has fallen away. Since we have sworn in the presence of God that we shall not give our daughters to the remnants in marriage, what shall we do that they may obtain wives? They asked. When they sought as to whether there is anyone in Israel who do not come to the Lord in Mizpah, they found that none has come from Yabesh of Gilead to the congregation of camp. They counted the people and found that there is none there of the Yabesh citizens of Gilead. Then the congregation sent 12,000 valiant people unto there and ordered them, "You may go and put to death all the people of Yabesh of Gilead, including women and infants, by the edge of the sword. In this matter you may act so. You must vanquish all men and all women who have slept with men." Upon this act, they found 400 virgins untainted with men among the people of Yabesh of Gilead, and have been brought to the camp in Shiloh in the land of Canaan. All the congregation sent men for peace talk to the Binyamites of Rimmon Rock. Then Binyamites returned back. Among the women of the Yabesh of Gilead, those they have spared and delivered lives. These have been given to them. Their numbers had not sufficed them. As the Lord has severed the tribes of Israel, people felt despair concerning Binyamites. What shall we do that the remaining may obtain wives? The elders of the congregation said, "The women has diminished off from the tribe of Benjamin. Those who are the remnants of Benjamin should be let to retain their land, such that a tribe shall not wither away from Israel. However, we shall not give our daughters to them in marriage. For the people of Israel has sworn such that he who gives his daughter to Binyamite is accursed." They added. Then they said, "To the north of Bethel, and to the east of the abandoned path that goes from Bethel to Shechem, and to the south of Lebanon in Shiloh, there is an annual feast of the Lord." Therefore they said to Binyamites, "You may go and lie hiding in the vineyards. When you see the virgins of Shiloh come dancing in an array, you shall arise from the vineyard in Shiloh, such that each one of you may take for yourself a wife from the virgins of Shiloh, and go off to the land of Binyamites. If it so happen that their fathers or brothers may come to me with plea, we shall say to them, 'As for you, show them mercy. We had not brought wives for all of them after war. You shall be blameless, for you have not given them in these times. Benyamites have done so. They sorted and took hold of dancers according to their count, returned to their inheritance, rebuilt cities, and dwelt in them. The people of Israel too in those days, each one departed off to their own tribes and houses. Hence they left that place, each one destined off to his own inheritance. In those days Israel was without a king. Each one walked in each of his own ways.
All glory be to the Holy Trinity, one God!
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.